the First Lady, Senator Remi Tinubu, trying to help Nigerians economically, advised that Nigerians should not resist the idea of dabbling into small-scale businesses, frying akara, bean cakes in English, in local parlance we call it akara.
Yes.
Frying akara, selling kuli, roasting corn, and all of that. Take this together, respond to that, and also the president's media advisor, Daniel Bwala, over the weekend said at a program in Lagos, Morale showed that a Nigerian who earned 60,000, way below the minimum wage, 70,000 naira, is fares better than anybody in the UK who is earning 2,600 pounds sterling a month. Respond to this.
These are people who are confused, and their level of confusion is beclouding their sense of reasoning. Right? The truth is that you can't blame Madam Tinubu. She doesn't understand the meaning of small businesses or small-scale businesses. As far as she's concerned, small-scale businesses are businesses that are in front of your door. That's not small-scale business. In fact, technology has advanced so much now that if Nigeria had electricity, right, had its infrastructure in place, a lot of people could be working with companies abroad without you knowing them, and they'll be living better. But MTN is going to kill you. Airtel, there was a girl who was crying the other day that she was working abroad, but one of the projects she was doing got taken away because data was a problem. So they're not thinking futuristically. They are cocooned to feel that the people who are frying akara and kuli those are not small business people. Those are people who are trying to survive. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with baking beans. In fact, it is possible these days for you to bake beans without anybody knowing that you are doing it in front of your house. Technology can make you bake beans, deliver it to people across, and you can become a millionaire. But like I said, she's speaking to her base. They are campaigning, and they are campaigning to the poor to keep having the hope that one day they will make it. It's just like going to a church, One church I watched one day, one guy was saying, by next year, everybody in this church will have a Rolls Royce. And everybody said, amen. And over 2,000 people there. And if I was in the church, I would have raised up my hand and, Pastor, how many Rolls Royces do they make a year? Why are you praying for us to have 2,000 Rolls Royces in this church, knowing that only 109 of them is made worldwide? Exaggerating. But I'm just using that as a metaphor to describe how they raise the hope of the poor so that they will go and vote for them again. Regarding Daniel Bwala is as confused as anybody. He's a very good friend of mine, but this is his own desperate moment to shine. If you are saying that somebody who is earning 60,000 naira in Nigeria is better than somebody who is, and that means you don't understand what they call quality of life. And without understanding quality of life, then you can't understand what wages and income has, that the role they have to play. Let's do this. Let's place Daniel Bwala on minimum wage, 77,000 naira per month. And if you ever hear from him again,
let's move from
before the end of this regime.
Let's move. I'm sure Daniel would not want that. We need to get your opinion, Comrade Sowore, on this raging controversy involving the president's chief of staff, Mr. Gbajabiamila, involving a certain Prince Adeyemi, who claimed he gave 400 million naira to get the job as Director General of the Presidential Foreign Intervention or Investment Protection Promotion Council, remaining an outstanding 200 million to pay, even though he has been denied by the presidency and all of those. The middleman he gave the 400 million to pass on to Mr. Gbajabiamila died under mysterious circumstances in a hotel in Utako. We later on got to know, even yesterday, by this same man, that the hotel was hurriedly pulled down.
Wow.
And all of those.
I have been in prison.
The parents have been arrested. Anyway, so how did you receive all of this? And what's your feedback? What's your
Nothing
response?
was a surprise to me. And the reason that was that when I was actively publishing on Sowore Reporters as an investigative reporter, I came upon the first story of Femi Gbajabiamila having stolen his his client's money, $25,000.
The same Femi Gbajabiamila?
Yes.
This same Femi?
Femi Gbajabiamila.
Are you sure it's the same person?
Yes. So in Atlanta,
he stole 25,000
from one of his clients. And that was what led him to run away from the U.S. Came back to Nigeria and
What
joined.
year was this?
This must have been in the 2000s. I can't remember the exact year. So when I did the story, I never knew who he was. And then someone called me, Abike Dabiri.
The same Honorable?
Yes. He said, Sowore, because I knew him when we were in the student union. He used to work at NTA.
That's, you knew her? Abike?
Yes. Okay. I'm sorry, I knew her. And I said, I haven't heard from you in a while. And he said, what did my brother do to you? I said, who's your brother? He said, Waja now. He said there's a story that you wrote about him on Sowore Reporters. Is there any way we can do to help him? Oh, wow. I said, so you know a thief? She laughed. And that was the last I heard of the story. So I wasn't surprised. In fact, if you read the excerpts of the investigation that was done, Gbaja actually, in an attempt to cover up, got money from Lagos and tried to pay back the money so as to cover up the
in
crime.
Atlanta?
In Atlanta, Georgia. So
it was disbarred by the Georgia State
as a result of that.
Wow.
Yes, this is public record.
Wow.
You can look for it and read it. So, not surprised. And this is how Nigeria got to where it is, by recruiting criminals to lead the country in various sectors.
Sorry to interrupt you. You mean this story is public?
It is public, yeah.
So how did Mr. Femi Gbajabiamila become elected as House of Reps member, became not just House of Reps member, majority leader, and then he became Speaker?
Ask yourself, how did Tinubu become president? How did he become senator, governor, and president? Without a real age, a real certificate that we know of, and with the baggage of drug trafficking. How did Dapo Abiodun become governor? With the baggage of a drug conviction in the U.S. as well.
You mean the governor of Ogun State?
Ogun State.
Has a drug conviction
of
in the
course,
United
in the
States?
U.S. So a lot of these guys who are now within our political leadership system are ex-convicts, former criminals, con men, 419ers, drug dealers, money launderers. That's where Nigeria is today. If you look at a majority of their backgrounds, you dig and find out that they've been involved in one criminal activity or the other. That's why they get upset when people like us call them criminal, because they know that we have the force of facts and evidence behind it, including a moral declaration that they cannot get over. So, are you then surprised that Gbaja took 400 million naira from somebody and is still left?
It's an allegation, not proven yet.
Well, my lawyer, Femi Falana, is the one helping the prince to prove his case. In the back end, we have already seen all the evidence.
Oh, really?
Yes, of how the transaction, you have mentioned some of it, how the person who transferred the money was killed, and the house where the transaction, the hotel where it took place, has been pulled down because there are other criminal networks involved that are interested in covering this up. Don't forget that there are several other persons who have made allegations against Gbaja about how he extorts money from them. I know of a case that I can tell you here, that when the guy was appointed to head NEFund, he said the pressure was so much.
NEFund, the student loans organization.
Yes. He said, Gbaja was very clear. There's been another story of a guy, Obaze, who was investigating Buhari's former private secretary, That one that used to sell recharge card who became a billionaire. Tunde Sabiu. They call him Tunde Idiagbon. Was born around the time Idiagbon was deputy to Buhari. And Obaze was investigating him. He had already agreed to part with some money, properties. And at the point, they said, but I sent a message to him. A message to him that he should not talk to Obaze anymore. He should talk to him directly. And they can settle this. That was how Tunde Idiagbon never appeared in the radar of the corrupt
Any
guy.
of the investigative
Even that
agencies.
happened. Baja was one who killed that investigation, took his own share of the money.
This is just allegation, Sowore.
When you are talking to Sowore, you can remove allegation from, because I exist. You can come and sue me if you think I lied against you. That's why you see, I get upset, absolutely upset when I see the justice system, the security system weaponized against all these small boys who send people to its prison when the real criminals, are there. There's a boy we just went and freed yesterday. He said he cloned the voice of the president. He's been in jail for 2 months. We got him freed yesterday. There's a guy they call DJ Chicken in Lagos. He said he wants to kill Sheyi Tinubu. How is that? You see, even if somebody threatens to kill somebody, and the police gets there and discover he doesn't have the capacity, you don't even arrest the person. But these guys are just social media content creators. And trust me, if these content creators don't exist, we will have no economy that keeps them busy. Imagine if all these guys are also engaging in terrorism, because there's now an entire economics model that is helping Nigeria that Nigeria hasn't really paid attention to.
But they shouldn't break the law anyway, even when
There's no law broken.
But Sowore, let's focus on this. And I want
The
you to
real
say
lawbreakers are the ones we are mentioning now.
I want you to...
The ones who go and pull down hotels where very egregious criminal transactions took place, and they got away with it.
I want you to comment on the fact that the president said eventually, belatedly, but eventually did mandate the ICPC to investigate this matter and report back in 30 days.
So he's still in office. He's been saddled with 2 committees in recent time. One of it was a 10 billion naira Ebola fund. Gbajabiamila is not a doctor. And there's another one. And the president is deceiving people by saying them. Let me give you an analogy. My grandmom used to fish, and she put plenty of fish to dry. And she had a cat that she trusted. Only for my grandmom to meet the cat one day. And the rats in the house were helping the cat to remove fire from underneath the fish. That's where the Tinubu regime has gotten to. Cats and fish have formed a political party. They have formed to be taking fish, an alliance. And any country in which the cats and rats are part of a coalition, that country is finished.
Okay, we don't have time, Sowore. I think we could have dwelt more on it, but let's round up with this. The political parties, you political actors, you've been accused of working at cross purposes, not coming together. Do you actually think you can defeat President Tinubu working in silos?
Well, absolutely. And I'll tell you this, and I've stated it many times, that the reason I don't waste my time with the so-called opposition parties is that they are not opposed to anything.
Why would you say so? Peter Obi is opposed to...
What's
Peter Obi talks every day, condemns every day most of the policies and activities of the administration.
There are many people on social media that you don't know who condemn the president and the president's regime more than... And you don't call them political parties.
So you don't believe in
it doesn't have to do with condemn. It has to be that they are really serious in organizing.
But they are serious.
They are serious in changing the system. Not people who are using back channels to discuss with the system who want to preserve the old order. The difference between me and them is that they want to preserve the old order. I want to dismantle it.
No, Peter Obi, for instance, I don't think wants to preserve the old order because he says clearly, he will pull down this structure of criminality, this system of criminality and all of those.
That's what the lie he told you in 2023. But where did he end up in 2024? With the same structure of criminality, formed a coalition with them when he couldn't get what he wanted. He ran to another structure of criminality. They are all there now.
Okay, let me put
struggling
you on
with the new structure of criminality he ran into.
Let me put you on this.
And yes, go ahead.
Comrade, someone your peer, your age, category, Prince Adebayo Adewale. Why can't you partner with somebody like that?
Who told you we don't partner?
No, form an alliance. That's what I mean.
Yes,
I think both of you are even from the same state, if I'm
we
not
are from
mistaken.
Ondo State.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you publicly that I'm very close to him. Yes, sir. But we understand each other to the point that we have different political trajectories that we can all travel and arrive at the same destination. That's an understanding we have. I'm close to him, and I can say it publicly that he's a brilliant guy. Better than, in terms of intelligence, though, better than all these people you are parading. And I'm surprised, but not surprised, because Nigeria is, you have heard about the Olodo uprising. It's almost anti-intellectual. That people see, if the conversation is about an Adebayo or myself versus, I'm more comfortable. But the people, you rarely hear about him, because Nigerians don't like people who are intelligent. They can't. It seems like they can't even stand his intelligence. But I am more on the extreme left side of politics. He is more of a moderate person, But do we agree on a lot of things? Absolutely, yes. To the point that I tell him that when I become president, we will run a collegiate presidency. When I'm asleep, he will be running the country. When I'm awake,
who will be the president? You or him?
That's why we say collegiate.
Okay.
Two of us,
Okay.
But I will be the president, commander-in-chief. He can help me run policy. Like I said, brilliant guy.
But I still think you guys should come, because I've spoken with him a couple of times. He's not averse to working together with Atiku, Peter Obi, Donald Duke, and all these.
That is where he and I differ.
Yeah.
You see, he believes that, he never told me that some of them are a little bit redeemable. He's tolerant of them. I am completely against their brand of politics, and the fact that their past speaks to the future that they're going to bring.
But
yes.
in the part of the country where you and I come from, our elders, our ancestors are saying that if you say you want to, those days they use firewood to cook. So they say you remove this wood, the firewood, and say, oh, it has cockroaches. You remove this one, you say that it has ants. There will be no more firewood left to cook.
That is when they were cooking with firewood. We cook with gas now. There's no point going back.
There's no point going
yes.
back. But you get the message anyway.
The point is that
you need all these guys.
Those who are saying that you need all kinds of people to form a coalition to take power. Peter Obi that you mentioned, he has done it in 2023. Ask yourself, all the people he brought to the National Assembly, where are they? Where's all the firewood with which they were doing fire in 2023?
Anyway, we need to round
up. They are the ones who quench the fire now.
How do you guys hope to defeat President Tinubu in 2027?
Ask me, how do we, the people, and it's very simple, mathematics or arithmetic. In every election cycle that we had in this country, only about 25% of registered voters vote in elections. We have said that there's a coalition in there that is unexplored, who are disenfranchised, who have been abused, that we can bring into play. And there are about 50 million voters. And I'm not joking. If we can wake them up, you will never talk about coalition again.
Can this INEC deliver? Do you trust INEC?
No, of course. But something can be brought to bear on INEC, the mass. If people vote and they have counted their votes and INEC is dilly-dallying, we can deliver the election results our own, with or without INEC. That's what we did in 1993. What sabotaged 1993 was people that Abiola was working with, the same kind of coalition that we're talking about now. Because I remember going to Abiola's house, that picture and video you saw when I was young, and he was there with Nzeribe, and Nzeribe was the person who sabotaged. And he spent more time, cozying up to the people who were sabotaging him than embracing the new revolutionary politicians in town. Well, not politicians, political activism in town. By the time he realized and came back from, exile, it was too late. We told him, don't travel, stay with us. I wish that all my videos of interaction with him was available. You see, there was a time he stood in his balcony. I stood on a bus, student union bus, and I was telling him, appoint us as your shadow minister. Let's come on, let's see what we do. The next thing, Abiola ran away. By the time they brought him back, is this same Tinubu people shepherd him into one Ekwetedo. We didn't even know when Abiola was arrested. Imagine that the day he was arrested, there were people like me outside that place. There's no way they could have taken him away. We would have reached everything. Look at his burial. I was the one who coordinated his burial. Tambo Mbeki was at the airport. We didn't let him attend. Abacha sent the delegation. They couldn't enter his house. The evidence is there. So there's no way during our time that if they hadn't done what they did, that they would have been able to take Abiola
So
away.
2027, you can secure.
Absolutely. If the Nigerian people are ready, we'll secure our mandate even before 2027. We'll just be waiting for an announcement.
Fantastic. Nice place to anchor, Sowore.
Thank you so
Let's
much.
do this again soon as we run down towards the
Absolutely.
elections. Let's do this again.
Absolutely.
Thank you for coming, Sowore.
Thank you for
really
being
appreciate
here.
it.
Yes.